program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention.
What happened?
Talking to
Where
me.
are we? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Let's play Nick.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan here with the Paying Attention podcast. High atop Two Guys Smoke Shop. No, not the Two Guys Smoke Shop. See, it's so ingrained now after 7 years. High atop the Golden Seal Apothecary on Main Street in North Andover, right across the street from, we're in the Valley Patriot Studios here at NCAM, right across from the Valley Patriot offices on Main Street, North Andover. We got a great show for you today. Have we figured out what happened to Mel? No, we don't know what happened. All right.
No, I
Okay.
think it's the new intro got switched and then it's not connected to the
All right,
main
okay,
cam.
that's fine. It just kind of feels weird just going cold.
Yeah.
We'll be thank our sponsors here and pretend that we're actually doing a podcast. It's the day before the Bash. It's the Bash pre-show, and things are absolutely crazy. We want to thank Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, the Zanny Pesh Law Office in Methuen. You know, everybody's depressed that the sexiest woman alive, Jana Zanny Pesh.
I know. I think you keep bringing
It's
it
not
up and
gonna
you keep
be-
reminding people.
Because it's depressing.
She did a good job last year.
I know she did a great job, but I still think she's mad at me. She says she has to like do something. She's going to be there late, but
Well, you
I
did
still,
share her picture. She is very, very pretty.
sexiest woman
Yeah,
alive.
she's very pretty.
Although that other woman, Bebe Rexha, did I send you her picture the last time we talked?
No.
She's like I think she's Latin. I think she's
We
a
don't
Latin
share pictures
star.
of people with each other.
No.
What do you mean?
Well, she's a singer. She's like Shakira, only with more curves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm a chubby chaser. I can't help it.
Right.
Marston and Son Construction, EIS Investigation and Gun Training, Tomo and Shaken Seafood, Clear Path for Veterans New England, AFC Urgent Care gave us $4,000 for our scholarships this year. Zaka Shafiq at AFC Urgent Care, amazing. I wish I could say he was the highest amount. As of like yesterday, 2 days ago, he was the highest amount, but not the highest. We'll talk about that in a minute. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors, the Prime Insurance Doug Mercurio Law Office. Doug is going to be the co-MC tomorrow night at the Bash. He says that he's funny, and between him and Scott Wood, and I've never known Scott Wood to be funny. He's a good MC, but I've never known him to be funny. And Doug said, I'm funny. And when someone says I'm funny, I'm always like, okay, well, let's see how funny you are. So I'm going to give him a shot. He's going to be the co-MC tomorrow night. Where did we leave off? Chris's Barbershop. I don't know if you noticed. I got my hair cut.
Oh, my goodness. You're looking good, Tom.
And I think that the guy that was cutting my hair at Chris, he did a phenomenal job. But I think he misunderstood because what I said was I want to keep the thickness of my beard just kind of trimmed to make sure it's even.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went like this, I think he thought that I was saying I wanted to go short. And so I wasn't really paying attention, and next thing I knew, I looked up and half my beard was gone.
Well,
It looks good. It
It
looks
looks
good.
better
Actually,
like that.
I like it better this way.
Yes.
I thought I liked it better thicker. Nancy likes it thinner. I
Okay.
thought I liked it thicker. But now that I'm looking at it, it kind of makes me look younger. So
Yeah, it's
I don't look like I'm 62.
No, it looks good. You have a thick head, so
I
you
do
don't
have
need a
head.
thick beard.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who else? Chris's Barbershop. That's on Main Street. It's upstairs from Sevmar. So what I do is I always get my hair cut, then I go downstairs for the lamb chops because they're amazing at Sevmar downstairs. And by the way, she's not even an advertiser. I just love to pump Sevmar in Salem, New Hampshire, and Jocelyn's by Sevmar on Merrimack Street in Methuen because the food there is so phenomenal.
It is. You brought me. It is
Right, we went
delicious.
after the show one day, and she asked for you, by the way.
She did?
Yeah, I was
Aw.
there yesterday with Joe Solomon, and she came over and she goes, "How was that young lady that you were with?" And I said, "Oh, intern girl." She goes, like I did a faux pas. He called her intern girl. I said, "No, she likes it. Don't worry about it." Everybody, by the way, when I introduce you tomorrow night at the Bash as intern girl, watch. Half the audience will laugh with that nervous laugh because they're not sure
So what that means.
if it's okay to be happy with that. And the other half is just going to be like shocked and appalled.
I can't wait.
And they won't really be shocked and appalled, but they'll be looking at their wife because they don't want their wife to think that they're okay with it, so they're going to pretend
wait
that
till
they're
you
shocked
see
and
what I'm
appalled.
wearing. Whew.
I can't wait. Let's see. Enterprise Bank. The Enterprise Bank girls are going to be there tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to get them to buy a table so that I could position their table in the front so I could just look at them all night. But I don't think they're buying a table, so I may have like a free table in the front that we're just going to scare everybody away from until they get there.
Okay, just to make sure.
So, because if I'm sitting up on stage and I'm going to be up for like 3 hours, I need something good to look at. And let me tell you, the Enterprise Bank girls, man, I should be giving them free tickets just to get them.
So
there.
one had asked last week if any of them are redheads.
Well, there's one. Marilyn sometimes puts red highlights in her hair.
Okay. Well, that counts. That counts.
It does. I give full credit. Even if it's from a box, I give full credit. Enterprise W3ON 4-star lighting, Stadium Chiropractic, a free shout out to JG's Ice Cream, and of course Salvatore's Restaurant, which is donating the food tomorrow night. I also want to thank all the people that are providing their services for free tomorrow night. The Elks is our brand new home, and I was so upset that we were losing the Reliefs in, and I really kind of wanted to go to Central Catholic. I wanted a big place. I wanted to fill a big place so we could charge less for tickets. More people could come and enjoy the night. And Randy Carter kept calling me going, no, you got to come to the Elks. You got to come to the Elks. And he kept pushing and pushing. And we couldn't get an answer out of Central. And then finally, by the time we got an answer from them, they were like, oh, yeah, if you'd gotten to us a week ago, I'm like, we've been calling you for 3 months. So I finally called Randy back and said, you know what? Lawrence High was my second choice, but screw it. You worked hard for it. I'm going to give it to the Elks. Went down, talked to Kim. They were amazing. We worked out a great deal, and I'm really excited. A brand new forever home, hopefully, at the Lawrence Elks Club tomorrow night. Also want to thank Angel Garcia. He's going to be our photographer tomorrow night, donating his services. Salvatore's Restaurant's doing the Henry's Jewelry and Awards. They charge us their cost. So there's still a cost associated for us, but we're not paying full price, so we appreciate them doing that for us. Who else is doing? Oh, Janet Aldridge from Conflum. That's like she tried to do an acronym, but I think she just failed miserably. So it's Conflum, which is an organization of independent journalists. And so she goes out and she gets press passes for her people. She screens them, and they're going to come tomorrow night and they're going to videotape the night. And who else do we have? Well, actually, I have it here.
I have a question.
Yes.
You videotape the event every year, right?
We do.
Where can we view
YouTube.
that?
Just search for it on YouTube. They're all there.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are they under the paying attention?
It would be under Valley Patriot BASH.
Okay.
All right, so who else do we have here? Steve Alfano is donating the stage tomorrow night, so I didn't realize there was no stage there. We used to the Reliefs Inn has their own stage. The Elks doesn't. And a good friend, Sue Riccio from the Methuen Senior Center, heard we were looking for a stage, said, I've got a friend that's got a stage, and I don't know if he's going to charge you or not, but call him. He's a good guy. And the guy's like, you know what? I see what you guys are doing online. The scholarships are amazing. I want to donate the stage for you. So he's going to do that for free. Bob Westcott, formerly of Copy Labs, is doing all the program books. And by the way, that's a huge undertaking. It's expensive and it's a huge undertaking. He doesn't charge us a flipping dime. So we're going to have 100 program books tomorrow night in the room. We're going to have 2 on every table. We have 50 tables, 45 tables, I think. I went to Lawrence High, so I got to divide by 3 and then carry the 1. But whatever that number turns out to be, I think he's making 100 to 200 program books tomorrow night that he hand puts together. Like he prints them all out, double-sided, color both pages. Then he paginates them and then he puts them together.
Can I correct you on something really
quick?
Sure.
So
your basic math skills are not from high school. You usually gain them in elementary school.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
Sorry. Just saying.
Didn't gain them in high school. Didn't gain them in grammar school either. I'm still counting on my fingers. Rick Belanti. I can't believe I forgot Rick. Rick Belanti, for the last 16 years, has been DJing this event for free. He gives us 5 hours of his time the night of the bash. He gets there early. He stays late. He helps us clean up. And he gets there the night before. We're going to be in the hall tonight setting up. He gets there the night before to check the acoustics, to set up his up lighting, to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. He helps carry tables if we ask him to. In fact, we don't even ask him to. He just does it. And I think that's it for services being donated for the bash tomorrow night. So let's just talk a little bit about the kids. This is going to be our last push for tomorrow night. If you want to donate, you can find me on PayPal. My email address, do not laugh, is valleypatriot@aol.com. This guy was making fun of me earlier. If you want to find me on Venmo, it's Tom-Duggan with 2 G's, A-N, -10. And if you're looking for me on Cash App, it's $Valley Patriot. Also, you can always just send me an email, and I can direct you a better way if you don't remember any of that. And you can always play back the tape afterwards if you're not watching live. So tomorrow night at the Elks Club, it's the Lawrence Elks Club on Andover Street in Lawrence. Doors open at 6 o'clock. If you're on Dominican time, be there at 4, because that means maybe they'll saunter in around 8. Dinner starts at 6. Program starts at 7, which we really lie about because people come late. Everybody's late for everything now. When we started this bash, if we said doors open at 6, we had a line at 6. Now we say doors open at 6, people start showing up at 8:30. So you want to be there earlier because we have a lot of really great stuff at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Especially, we do a tribute to the veterans at the beginning. So, and we always do them at the beginning because veterans are always an hour early for everything. Like, if I say to Randy Carter, do you want to go for lunch at 1 o'clock at Salvatore's? At 12, he's there waiting for me, and I'm not joking about that. Veterans are trained that if you're not early, you're not on time, and so they're early for everything. So that's why we do the veteran stuff early, because their bedtime is like 8 o'clock. So we want to make sure if they got to go home and go to bed, they can do that. What else did I have?
You want to go over the kids?
Yeah, so let's go over the kids real quick. We have David Consoli, by the way, from Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors is here with us.
Hi.
And, of course, we have intern girl, who I understand is going to be dressed to the nines tomorrow night.
Oh, boy.
So
God.
we will see. I actually have a little bet going on in my head as to who's going to look better, you or someone else, and I guess we will find out tomorrow night.
Who is it?
I'm not going to say, because then you're going to look and you're going to walk in and look for her to see if you think you look better. And it's really the only thing that really matters is I think you look better. So, so let's pull up the tote board. And we can pull that up. There you go. So here's where we are as of the second we went on the air today. This includes everything that came up to 1:42 this afternoon, Thursday, the 27th of March. And that bottom line number, by the way, is the most money we have ever raised at a Valley Patriot Bash ever, by about $10,000. No, I'm sorry, $3,000.
Nice.
Last year's all-time high was $58,100. 59, 60,
$3,100.
So so about $3,100. And now, so we're going to go through each kid. The bottom one that you see there that says TBA, the Edmund Lowe Scholarship. Edmund Lowe was the first troop in America to die in Afghanistan. His parent, he's from Salem, New Hampshire. He went to Salem High School, was an ROTC kid. I did not know this when I befriended the Lowe's at Jasmine's Computer Service. Free shout out to them. They were my computer techs. And a friend of mine, Dave LaCroix, who knows them well, said, yeah, they're great. You go see them. They can take care of your computer. So I've been going there for about a year. And I ran into Dave one day, and he goes, by the way, did you know that the Lowe's son, that they're a Gold Star family, that their son died in Afghanistan? And I'm like, oh, my God, I've known them for a year now. I didn't know that. And I found out they have their bash in April or May. And so I said to them, I think the following year, listen, let us raise money for you. Do we have your permission to use Edmund Lowe's name to raise money? Whatever we raise, we'll write you a check to your nonprofit, and then when you have your bash, we'll come to yours and we'll present our check to you. If you come to our bash, let us present our check to you like the first time, right? So he's at $5,050, but we don't have a kid because they don't pick their kid till next month. If we can get them to pick the kid early next year, we can get that 5,000 number up to 8 with everyone else. And I think the only reason why it's so low is because there's no photo of a kid that we can attach to it, and that you might not think that makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. Look at the difference between the Edmund Lowe Scholarship and the next kid up, which is the bottom of our kids, right? Cecilia Geyer. So it's a $3,000 difference. So we're going to try for next year, but we have at least $5,050 to hand to Mr. Lowe tomorrow night at the bash, and he's such a nice guy too. I'm always thrilled when I show up and he's there, and his son Norman also usually comes, and Mrs. Lowe used to come every year, and she was so funny. I used to have so much fun with her when I'd pick up my computer when I was getting it fixed, and she passed away during COVID. And I felt so horrible when I learned that because they're such nice people. So the Edmund Lowe Scholarship's at $5,050. Let's pull up Cecilia Geyer. Now, I got to be honest with you. When she sent me this picture, when we picked this kid, I was kind of like, the purple hair, I got a conservative crowd. Not too sure she's going to raise a lot of money. So I sent a thing to her mom and said, do you have a picture of her without the purple hair? And the only pictures that they had of her was like at 12 or 13 years old. So I said, all right, well, I don't know, as long as the kid's not woke. So I called D. O'Neill, who chose her. D. O'Neill from 411 Cares chose this scholarship. And I said, is this kid woke? Because we don't want a kid that hates cops in a room where we're honoring cops, firefighters, and veterans. And she said no. When I went to meet her mother and I went to her mom's house, there was a Trump sign on the lawn. Trust me, they're not woke. So I was like, all right, fine. We just don't want a kid that hates cops. I don't care what your politics are. If you voted for Obama, that's fine. But we just don't want a kid that hates cops. This scholarship is named after our friend Dan Strange. He was a member of the Secret Service. Most people didn't know that. I certainly didn't know it until Donald Trump got elected, and he was on Air Force One and called me and handed the phone to Donald Trump. And it was like the funniest phone call. It was the funniest phone call I ever had in my life. Because for the first 10 minutes, I thought it was an impersonator. Until I realized, like 10 minutes into the call, that it was actually Donald Trump. And then it became even funnier. He actually started mocking me. He started going, "Well, how do I know this is really Tom Duggan? Well, it might not be Tom Duggan. It could be some other guy that owns a newspaper. Maybe it's the Eagle Tribune." And now I'm laughing. And so, anyways, Dan passed away. He gave to this scholarship every year. He raised money for the scholarship every year. He passed away in 2020, I think. That was right after Columbia Gas, 2019 maybe. Mm-hmm. It's really sad that I can't even remember. It's been so long, right? Yeah. So her scholarship's at $8,000. It just broke $8,000 this morning, right before we went on the air. The next kid, Thomas Kotas, who I want to apologize right out of the gate. You're probably watching this. I spelled his name wrong in the program book. I put Costas. I put an S in his name because I know so many kids named Costas that my brain just did it wrong. In fact, if you look at that, I think it says Costas on the
Yes, it does.
on the screen, so I'll have to change that when I get home. He gets picked by Jessica Finicaro, who's a former member of the Greater Lawrence Tech School Committee. She's also a former Methuen City Councilor. She hates me, but every year I call her and I say, "Are you still in with the kid?" And she's like, "I'm never going to take it out on a kid. If I'm mad at somebody, don't worry about it. I'm with you every year no matter what." She puts these kids at the Vogue through a friggin' decathlon. Oh, God. Like, these kids are like running laps. Like, you wouldn't believe what she puts these kids through. So the kid that comes from the Vogue, I know, is top notch every year. Like, top notch every year.
Well, you can tell. Look at
she really, really puts them through a lot. Like, she makes them write an essay. Like, we don't do this for any of our other kids. She really makes them work for it, and I think she's just looking for the kid that wants it the most. Yeah. So she puts them through a lot. So this is our highest scholarship for the Greater Lawrence Vogue ever. Prior to this, our highest scholarship amount for the Vogue last year, I believe, was $6,200, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we're about $2,000 higher. So Thomas Kotas at $8,025. And then we've got our Phil Glendy, special needs, would be Abby. Nope. Huh? Nope. No. You missed Abby?
Yeah, we don't have her.
We missed
here.
Abby. The one with the white shirt.
Oh, no. We don't have her here.
You don't have her. It's the one I relied on David Consoli for. He's the one that went over. So, no, it's this one.
I did give it to her.
All right, so the next one is the Phil Glendy Special Needs Scholarship. I'm sorry, Abby, we don't have your picture up on the screen. So Phil Glendy was a special needs teacher at Lawrence High School. He ran the special needs. He ran the Special Olympics every year at the stadium. I used to cover that. I used to actually get up like friggin' 8 o'clock in the morning to go meet with him, take pictures of the special needs kids doing the Special Olympics. And then he would come to the BASH every year as a member of the Lawrence High alumni. And he gave to the BASH every year. And so when he passed in 2019, we decided to name an addition. We created an additional scholarship just for him. And every year we've always given it to a kid that's a special needs kid that is smart enough to get into college. And so every year since then, we've given it to a special needs kid. This year, we lost the Studio 21 podcast scholarship because we're no longer at Studio 21 and Dave's shutting down the studio. So we lost that scholarship. So I decided, since we already have a Lawrence High kid, let's move Phil Glendy's over to Methuen High. And I called Methuen High and said, "Do you have a special needs kid that's going to college that might qualify for this. And the woman that I spoke to, and I can't remember her name, said, well, I will have to look for that, but would you be okay with a girl going to be a special needs teacher? Because I know a girl who's going to be a special needs teacher. And I thought Phil Glendy was a special needs teacher. We should open it up for both. Every year we should look for either a kid that's going to be a special needs teacher or a kid that's got special needs. So we looked at Abby. We looked at her stuff. I contacted her dad, Scott. I talked to him for a little bit. She seemed like the absolute perfect kid for this scholarship. Her scholarship number is at $8,350. She's in 4th place, believe it or not. And then the next one we've got is...
Hold on. I think I'm figuring out the picture thing. It wasn't here.
Oh.
So we can put a picture up.
Okay, yeah. Because poor Abby, we don't want her to not have...
Oh, of course not. There she is.
Okay, very good. There she is.
Oh, there she is. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Right, so there's Abby Mendez, and so she's going to be a special needs teacher. And let me just give you one more minute about her, because I know we're strapped for time. So this is a girl who, when she was 10 years old, was doing drills for her cheerleading team and got a concussion. And she was having horrible headaches. She was having a lot of head pain. And so they put her on an IEP. She couldn't be in a regular class anymore because she couldn't concentrate. They put her on an IEP. So for a while, she was a special needs kid. It took her until her sophomore year or junior year of high school for the doctors to figure out how to get rid of her pain. And they did. I don't know if it was surgery or medication, but they found a way to get rid of her headaches and her head pain. And she immediately went back into a regular classroom. She is on I believe, the varsity cheerleading team. She's also now on the Pop Warner cheerleading team. And now she wants to be a special needs teacher to teach kids that are going through what she went through. And to me, that is like probably the most special story we're going to tell all night tomorrow night. And so all these stories are special. All these kids, and I didn't go into all of their bios. We're going to do that tomorrow night. But when I read through her thing, when her father sent me her bio and sent me that, I was just like, yeah, how do we not pick this kid for a special needs scholarship named after Phil Glendy? It's crazy not to give it to her, so we're going to give it to her tomorrow night. She had $8,350. I would love to see her get up to 10. I would love to see somebody donate $1,650, if my Laurentine math is right, to get her up to $10,000, because $8,350 is the highest this has ever been. Last year, this scholarship was at, I think, around $5,900. I don't even think we broke $6,000 last year.
Oh, wow.
If we did, it was just barely. It might have been $6,001.
That would be $1,650.
Right. So I would love to see her get up to $10,000. Our next kid, boy, is this kid a go-getter. So this kid is created 3 robotics teams for Lawrence High School. No. He is the commander of their junior ROTC. He was accepted at, oh boy, I should have it in front of me, but I don't. He's been accepted at a couple of military academies that are like really huge, and I can't remember the name of it. One of them, yes. And he goes to Phillips Academy. So he's doing special classes at Phillips Academy because that's how bright he is. So while he's at Lawrence High, he's doing like this kind of co-op thing with Phillips Academy. He's going to Phillips Academy. And I think like during his breaks and during summer, he's been going there and taking college-level classes to help him prepare for college.
Which Phillips Academy? Andover?
Andover, yeah. And so his name is J. Ronnie Ferrin, and Kevin Druin helped us get this kid. Kevin's our team captain for Lawrence High School. For the Bash, and he called Jay Ronnie and said, "Are you the commander?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "We're looking for a kid for a scholarship. Who's your most superstar kid on your team?" And he said, "Well, actually, I'm a student." Now, we've never had a student be the commander of the JROTC. We always had an elderly, retired military guy that was the commander of the junior ROTC at Lawrence High School. And when the last commander retired, this kid was such a superstar that the school chose him as a senior to be the commander of the junior ROTC, which I thought was amazing, right?
It's my favorite one to contribute to.
So how do you not give the scholarship to this kid? So he said to Kevin, well, could I nominate myself? And Kevin called me and said, can the kid nominate himself? I'm like, I want to give it to him just for asking. Like, just for having the gumption to ask. So he's at $10,276. Next one is Whittier, Natalie Delano. Wow, what a superstar this kid is. She's head of Skills USA Massachusetts. She goes to Whittier. Scott Wood helped us pick this kid. And her father is a Methuen police officer. Her mother is a Newburyport police dispatcher. And we actually wrote a story about her. So when she got nominated, I recognized this picture. It didn't have the Venmo in it. It had something else on it. And I recognized the picture. And I went and I looked and I said, oh, my God, we actually wrote a story about how awesome this kid is. She's at 10,420. Let me tell you how amazing that is. Every year since Al Valou started the Whittier Tech Scholarship, because he's a Whittier Tech alum, every year Whittier's at the very bottom. And this year, the day we picked Natalie, I called my team and said, we're going to do away with the Whittier Tech Scholarship, and we're going to concentrate on Haverhill High School, because Haverhill High School is always a little bit ahead. So every year it's Whittier at the bottom and Haverhill High School second last. Let's combine them and let's get a kid more money. These are always at the bottom at 5,000 barely. And then that day we got this, and I looked her up and I said, okay, this is the last year. If this is going to be at the bottom again this year, this is the last year for Whittier. We're not going through this again. We'll combine it with Haverhill, get a kid a good scholarship with a good amount. And boy, right out of the flipping gate, she was just a rock star. She was in first place for most of this scholarship drive. We started the scholarship drive the last week of January, and she was in first place all the way up until last week. Up until the time Cody, which is the next one, at 11,310. This is Braylon McGuire. Now, the Cody team was in very last place until last week. And then Nicole Cameron started making phone calls. She started coercing people. She started showing up at all the bars and putting cans on the bar at the various different drinking establishments in the area and having them collect money. And she would call me randomly and go, okay, so we collected $665 this year from putting canned jars out on the bars. Calling all of her friends, calling all the Cody family members. She's at 11,310. Now, the only record that we did not break this year yet, we've broken the all-time total record. We've broken the Edmund Lowe Scholarship record, the Haverhill Greater Lawrence, Phil Glendy, Junior ROTC. Oh, no, actually, Junior ROTC needs another 1,000. We've certainly broken the Whittier Scholarship, blown it out of the water. The only two that we've not broken, Lawrence High School was at $11,100 last year, so he needs another $900, $900. And Cody's high scholarship total last year was $14,100. So they need about $2,800, $2,900 more dollars. And I'm pretty sure Cody's going to get there because the Morris brothers have yet to kick in. And the Morris brothers usually show up the night of the bash with $1,000 each. That's not counted in our total. So whatever that number is for Cody in my head, I always add 2,000 because I know the Morris brothers are coming prepared. So right now in my head, I'm looking at 13,003. So they're still going to need to raise another $1,000 to beat last year's all-time bash record of 14,100. But holy crap, look at that bottom number. We've raised in a month and a half. And I should say thank you to Debo Brown and Crybaby Kelly Burchell Frazier, because certainly without them, there's no way we could have done this. Like, if they weren't out there helping us every day, of course I'm joking for those who don't know, 61,431. And let me just give you a couple more things. We're going to talk to David Consoli. So former Governor Charlie Baker got us over the hump to 50,000. He's the one who broke. Thank you. He's the one who broke 50,000 for us. He gave us $2,000.
Really?
Yep. And I felt bad because I didn't see that he said, please do this anonymously, because then he's going to get hit up by every charity on the planet.
Oh, no.
Right? And I didn't see that was part of the message when he sent the money in, so I thanked him all over Facebook. Then I saw it, and I sent him a text message and said, Charlie, because we've known each other we've known each other since long before he was governor.
Really?
He actually came to the first Valley Patriot Bash. He wasn't governor yet. Then he became governor. He became a little too busy, and we couldn't get him to come. There's rumors that he may be coming tomorrow night. So we're gonna have to keep him and Francisco on opposite ends of the. But Charlie got us past the $50,000 hump, and then Joel Dieslitz, the former state rep from Windham, New Hampshire, put us over 58,100, which was last year's all-time high, and gave us enough money. I think it was about $1,500, and put us at 58,101. Crazy, crazy numbers. And then, oh boy, who was it that put us over 60? I think it was Alvalu. It was Alvalu, the guy.
Yesterday.
Yep, Alvalu, the guy who started the Dan Cody Scholarship. He started the Whittier Scholarship. The best thing that's ever happened to this scholarship drive was the week after Dan Cody passed away, Alvalu showed up at my office in tears with a check and said, I knew Dan Cody. I loved Dan Cody. I know the bash is next week. Is there any way we can start a scholarship? I'll give you $1,000 right now just to start it. And so we started the Dan Cody Memorial Scholarship. And then he left and he came back later that day and said, you know, I'm a Whittier alum. You don't have Whittier on your scholarship program. I want to give $1,000 to Whittier too. So thank you to Al, because if not for Al, these numbers wouldn't be anywhere near where they are. And he pushed us over 60,000 yesterday. So Francisco Urena pushed us over 61,000 today. And I want to thank him. And I want to thank everybody, my entire team. I have a brand new BASH committee. My entire BASH committee bailed on me this year. Apparently all friends of Kelly Frazier's. They chose her over me. That's fine. I was very depressed, Dave, because I was like, I have to run a BASH now without a committee.
Really?
I have to put an entire brand new committee together. The only one that stayed was Nancy and Jill, who does the raffles. But the committee that meets, everyone bailed. I lost Rich Russell. I lost Brenda. I lost Denise. All of them. They're all gone.
That's too bad.
So I was like, you know what? Whatever. We'll find a way. I sat down with Nancy, and we looked at who the movers and shakers at TMF were. And MJ, Mike Jimenez, who goes by MJ, who's a hero veteran, does so much work for TMF. And I grabbed him one night and said, you're a real go-getter. Feel free to say no if you're too busy, but I could really use you on my BASH committee. And he comes every year. He comes with TMF so he's familiar with what we do. And he's like, Tom, I'd be honored. And his girlfriend at the time, Veronica, is also a mover and shaker at TMF. She said, I want to join too. So the two of them joined. And then we had Kerry Bruner, who's a member of TMF, who joined our team. Bob DeMauro, who does the breakfasts, breakfast for dinner at TMF for the homeless, was hanging out with me when I asked someone else if they wanted to be on the committee, and he said, hey, I'd be willing to join the team. So we've got a really good team. We've got of course we have intern girl is on the team, and we also have Danielle Allen from the Clatter fame, who has joined the committee. So we've got a really good team. They're all brand new. We have a brand new venue, right? Because we're not at the Relief Center anymore. We're at the Elks. We have a brand new team. We have blown away all the scholarships. And, and nothing against my old team. I have no animosity toward any of them at all. They chose what they chose, and that's fine. We all have to make our decisions in life, and I'm okay with it. But I will say, and this is not a dig at them at all, please don't take it that way, but it was really refreshing this year to have a committee that actually went out and sold tickets. It was really refreshing this year to have a committee that was calling their friends that own businesses and saying, hey, could you kick in $100 for a scholarship? Santiago Reyes Cruz got me a $350 sponsor yesterday. I've never had a member of my committee ever once bring in a sponsor. Like they looked at their job as running the event in the room, not doing the stuff beforehand. And so all of that all fell on me. And so one of the reasons that number is what it is at 61,000 is because I had more time to call people. I had more time to send out mailings. I had more time to send out emails because the work of beforehand was being done by more people. And so I want to thank everybody on my committee. If I forgot you, it's only because I'm doing all this off the top of my head. But everybody in the room tomorrow night, I will thank all of you by name. And, of course, we want to thank David Consoli from Pleasant Valley.
I brought my sign to thank them.
Yeah, I saw
They
that.
hit the 60K.
I actually think,
Right.
with the Morris brothers and the Cody team, I think they're going to make
65?
14,000. And if they do, that means we hit 65.
That would be.
If they hit 14,000, we're going to hit 65,000, and that will be amazing.
You know what I'd like to see?
What's that?
The kids on the bottom get elevated a little bit more because the top ones are that's pretty impressive.
So one of the reasons why the kids at the bottom are a little higher this year is I always think in my head the Cody team's okay.
Yeah.
So somebody will donate, like Charlie Baker called the first time and said, I want to donate 1,000. When he donated his first 1,000, he said, put it to where you think it's going to it's going to help the most.
Yeah.
So he didn't say, I want you to give $500 to this kid and $200 to this kid. So I looked, and my first thought was the Cody kid's going to be okay, and the Lawrence High School kid's going to be okay. They're always at the top.
Always at the top.
So let's bottom load this. Let's give $300 to Edmund Lowe. Let's give $200 to the Dan Strange. Let's give $200 to the kid at the Vogue. And I worked bottom up. So anytime someone called or sent a message and said, here's my donation, do what you want with it, I always bottom loaded. Previous years, I always went Cody, Lawrence High, and then I looked for who needed it the most because I wanted those two to be higher because they work harder. Their teams work harder. They deserved more.
Yeah.
And so this year I did it a little differently, and I bottom loaded it. And so all of those kids at the bottom are getting money that normally I would have steered to Cody. Normally I would have steered, and that's why I think it's a little bit more even. One thing that bothers me every year, and maybe it shouldn't because it's just the times that we're in, there are always people who come over to us after the bash. In fact, I've had bash committee members say to me after the bash, you know, it's really not fair that one kid gets 10 and another kid gets 5. Can't you just even it out?
No, life's not fair.
That was exactly this is why you're my friend. This is why I love you.
No, this is the problems we have in today's society.
Right. And so I try to say delicately because they're people that volunteer, they're people that are giving. And I say, you know, here's the problem. The Cody team has the Cody family out there.
Do you know why I feel like that? Because when you say to me, who you picking this year, I look at the individual kid, I read their bio, and then I choose. And one of the things that I try to gravitate away from, but I can't seem to do, is the Lawrence High ROTC
kid. Right.
I always kick in something to that.
Right.
Because
the kid's always a rock star.
But I have a soft spot for young kids, especially from Lawrence, who probably don't come from a lot of means, and they want to serve their country.
Right.
I'm not saying no to that.
Right. Yeah,
so I always kick something to that,
yeah.
And then I pick the other kids. So I don't want someone to tell me,
right,
oh, your money was divvied up. That's not why I was given.
Right. And that's the thing. A lot of people give because they know the family or
Correct.
they know the other alumni of the school. So if you're a Methuen alum, you want to give to the Phil Glendyke Scholarship, why should that money go to a kid in Haverhill? Or vice versa, right?
Yes. And last year I donated to the Dan Strange, and I really loved the kid's bio. And after meeting his parents.
Oh, she was a
oh my God,
military kid, too.
The parents were so nice, and they were crying. And
they barely spoke English, but we understood thank you really well.
And I said to myself, I should have put it all in that scholarship because I really liked those people. So life's not fair, and be grateful for what you get.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Listen, I've never had a complaint from a family. In fact, as we're sitting here, I got no sleep last night because I was up working on this program script all night with Chris Eldridge, and we were laughing our asses off all night and all morning. And I got 2 hours sleep, and I had to be here to do the show. And when I leave here, I have a bunch of errands to do, and I realize I'm not going to get to everything. I'm just not. So I went on Facebook, and I said, can any of my volunteers go to Staples, and can any of my volunteers go to Lawrence and pick up our awards for tomorrow night? And the mother of the Dan Strange Scholarship kid, Cecilia Geyer, sent me a message and said, I have to drop her off for her internship at Lawrence General. I'm going to be in Lawrence anyway.
Oh, great.
Let me do it. And I'm like, listen, you're the mother of a scholarship kid. I'd feel bad if you're running around doing my errands for me. She said, listen, you raised $8,000 for my kid. The least I can do is go to Staples for you.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's how grateful these and by the way, a couple of the parents, Scott Mendes and Michelle Delano, were giving money to other kids. So when Natalie was in first place and someone donated $1,000 to her scholarship, Michelle Delano looked at Cecilia at the bottom and said, well, you know what? I want to donate $200 out of my pocket, not for my kid's scholarship, but out of my pocket to Cecilia to help her get a little higher. And Scott Mendes also did that. So some of the parents now are actually kind of jumping in and helping each other, which is really amazing. It's what this bash accomplishes every year blows my mind every year. This year we're at 61. Last year we were at 58-1. The year before we were at 53.
53.
The year before that, 33.
Yeah.
So we went 33,000, 53,000, 58, 61 in 4 years. Since COVID, we've gone from, now the year before COVID, 21.
Last year I did the pre and post bash shows with you.
Right.
And I said, you didn't want to hear this from me. And I looked at you in the eye and I said, you should be proud of what you accomplished. I know you don't want to hear it because there's a lot of people involved, right? But
I don't like taking credit for it because it's
that's
a team.
too bad. I'm here to say it.
Okay.
You're the driving force A lot of people, they say, "Oh, Duggan this, Duggan that."
Oh, yeah, I'm evil.
This is
Stick with that. He'll do much better
this
if I'm
is the
evil.
part. This is the part of Tom that I like. Why I'm affiliated with him, and he should be proud of what he's accomplished over the last 3 years.
I am a racist, but I'm doing it wrong.
Especially last year, he was down and out for months.
Yeah.
And you came back, and we still had a bash.
I was in a coma for 11 days. I was in the hospital for 34 days, and I still made it.
We've heard.
We still made it. So.
All right. So
I want to thank everybody, and I also want to just do a real quick, and then I want to talk to David Consoli. We'll talk about some local stuff. I just want to thank, and please don't think I'm slighting anybody. We have over 200 people that have donated so far. Okay. Well over 200 that have donated so far. I just want to read the top ones.
Yeah, sure.
Mike Gagliardi, Laborers Union Local 175. I'm a right-wing lunatic. He's a left-wing lunatic. He's the head of a laborers union. Gave us $5,000 this year for the scholarship. $5,000.
Thank you.
Friggin' amazing.
That's awesome.
Zaka from AFC Urgent Care gave us $4,000.
He's a great guy.
I when I first met him, didn't know. He's a very, very even-keeled, even when he's excited, his volume's down here. And I didn't know how to take him. And, boy, once I had lunch with him a couple of times, turned out to be a great guy, like a really great guy.
Yeah, I sat with him a couple weeks ago.
Oh, right. You came in.
That's right. He's a good guy.
You crashed our lunch the other day with Mike Agricola at Salvatore's.
Who is hosting our reunion, by the way?
Is he really?
Yes,
good
he
for
is.
you. Good. I'm glad we were able to give him some business. $3,000 from Carrie Weiland at House of Mercy. She's also head of Franz Acres Associates in Salem, New Hampshire. Give us $3,000 for the Edmund Lowe Scholarship.
She does a lot of good.
She does so much. There's a woman that, like, if I could marry anybody, if I could wave a magic wand and make a woman want to marry me, it would probably be her.
Nice.
She's incredible what she does for the homeless. She's incredible for what she does for people in Salem, New Hampshire. Everything she does in her life, in her universe, centers around helping other people.
Yeah. So she's great. So who's the next one?
$3,000 from former Windham, New Hampshire State Rep Joel Dieslitz. $2,500 for the John Ratka Memorial Scholarship. Here's the crazy one that blew me away. Got a call from a woman named Bernice at Walmart and said, I understand I'm following you on Facebook. I understand you guys do a scholarship drive. Are you a nonprofit? I said, we're not. Gee, that's too bad because we have money available for scholarships, but you have to be a nonprofit. And I said, hold the phone. We have a nonprofit that we partner with. Can I have them apply for it for the scholarships and have them write the check to the kid? She said, absolutely. She sent me the link. D. O'Neill from 411 Cares applied for the scholarship. $2,000 from Walmart. $2,000.
That's the one in Methuen, right?
The one in Methuen, yep.
Great.
Charlie Baker, $2,000, former governor of Massachusetts. Here's another one. Every year, thanks to Annie Clegg, RDT DeMoulas, $2,000 this year. And that one, all of that went to J. Ronnie Farron at the Lawrence High School Junior ROTC. $1,500 so far from Alva Lou. $1,500 from Joey Veal. $1,200 from 91-year-old Korean War veteran Eugene Smith from Military Connections, who we named the scholarship after. Named it after him. And he's still alive, and we're hoping he can come tomorrow night.
91. God bless him.
Yep. $1,000 from former state rep Lenny Mira, who will be there tomorrow night. I think we're going to let him speak, too. We might give him a microphone.
I like him.
I like him a lot.
He's such a better co-host than I am. He's good.
$1,000 from an anonymous donor. $1,000 from, believe it or not, Dave Garofalo from Studio 21 Podcast Cafe.
I miss him.
I do too, and I miss Chrissy too. And he still owes Two Guys Smoke Shop, so we put this under Two Guys Smoke Shop. Dave Garofalo, $1,000, and $1,000 from Jerry Flynn at the New England Police Benevolent Association. I have to say, when you look at just this list of the top donors of 200 or more than 200. The amount of credibility that brings to our scholarship drive, the amount of credibility that brings to our bash every year, to have someone like RDT DeMoulas, to have somebody like Mike Gagliardi, to have somebody like Charlie Baker, to have all of these people who are really very successful and have tremendous credibility on their own, to want to partner with us, to have Walmart, to have AFC Urgent Care, to have Franz Acres. All of these people could be taking that money and doing something else with it. They're entrusting it with us. to give it to a kid that's deserving, and they know that if they give it to us, it's going to go where it's supposed to go. So
100%.
I want to thank everybody for that, and I'm sure I probably forgot something, but at our post-show, we'll figure out what we forgot, and we'll cover that. Now, let's get to how are we doing on time? Are we 20 minutes in?
We are actually 45 minutes in.
All right. Well,
wow.
Maybe 15 minutes
I
on
thought
this.
you were couldn't talk today.
I've had no sleep.
All right.
Literally, I've had
You're
2
on
hours.
caffeine.
I'm on Cafe Bustelo, which is amazing, by the way. Please, whoever keeps leaving cans of Cafe Bustelo at my office outside the door once a week, whatever it is that I did for you that made you do that, please keep doing that.
Is it sealed?
It's sealed.
It's probably,
sure?
Yeah, no,
probably
it is.
poisoned.
It
I
is.
know.
It's from Debo.
Tom died. What happened?
Debo's dropping off.
Crybaby Kelly's injecting things into it. Oh, boy. So there's a couple things going on. First, I want to just quickly talk about the mayor's race in Lawrence. So we've got another person jumped into the race. I kind of thought he was gonna. This is not who I was talking about, by the way. There's another big name thinking of jumping in, but right now it's Lawrence Mayor Brian DePina. It is Juan Manny Gonzalez, who was here last week.
What a nice guy he is.
What a super guy he is.
Oh, my God.
Saw him last night at the Tower Hill neighborhood.
He almost wants me to move to Lawrence. He wants to make me move to Lawrence. He's a good guy.
I've known him for so long. He's a former Officer Tom Duggan Public Safety Award winner at the BASH, and he's also a Scott Clegg Public Service Award winner at the BASH for Heal Lawrence. And a new guy jumped into the race, Lawrence City Council President Giovanni Rodriguez, who I think would make a really good mayor.
Interesting.
And I'm not saying that I'm supporting him or anything. He has to come on the show
there's
first.
3, and that might be 4, you said?
Yeah, there's another big name that's he has told me he is running.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for him. He said he may make the announcement at the BASH. He told me that a month ago. But I haven't been able to get him on the phone for the last month. So I don't know if he's mad at me, if he's just busy.
Everybody tells him stuff. I don't know how he finds out all this stuff.
I know. He knows everything. And at first I was like, should I trust Tom, telling him secrets? And I'm like, yeah, this guy knows a lot of things, so I trust him.
He can't reveal his sources, I guess.
Listen, I spent over $40,000 in a lawsuit with the Diademos protecting my sources. So if people can't trust me with their stuff now, I'm horrible at keeping my own secrets. I can't keep my own secrets for anything, but if someone tells me something, I can keep that secret to my grave. So we have 3 people again. Now, it's going to get very interesting. Now, if the person we were just talking about does not get in, and it's Manny versus Giovanni versus Brian, I think Brian could be in trouble. I think Brian he's embroiled in a lot of controversy. A lot of it is made up. The Castro stuff was all made up. That you'll never convince anybody because they want to believe the negative. But the Castro stuff is all made up. That whole thing was a sandbag, and I've done a whole show on it. I'm not going to go into it again.
But was he the one that forced out Roy Vask?
He was one of the people that did force
that
out Roy Vask.
that was a good police chief.
Roy, I think in hindsight, Brian probably wishes he kept Roy at this point.
That guy was a good police chief.
So Castro, the report dropped today on Castro. The Post Commission, let me just listen, and I wish we didn't have the BASH stuff because I'd love to do a whole show on this.
We're running out of time.
But listen to me when I tell you this. The Post Commission, which is like a civilian review board for the state that shouldn't even exist, pulled the certification of Castro today. He can never be a law enforcement agent ever again, a law enforcement officer ever again in any capacity. There's a member of the Post Commission. Remember when I told you this? There's a member of the Post Commission that I have copies of text messages with Lawrence police officers that were telling her how to rule, that were steering them toward this is what we know about this guy, and a lot of the stuff that they fed to her, the woman on the Post Commission, was bullshit. And so what you have is a conflict of interest. You have a member of the Post Commission that voted on this, that voted on Castro, that was text messaging people that were involved in the Castro thing, and no one with the Globe. I gave this to the Globe. I gave this to the Herald. Well, I've talked about it. I did a whole show on it. And apparently because Tom Duggan said it, no one wants to touch the story now.
You should write a story and show the text messages. I would. Sounds illegal.
You know what? If I may have time after the BASH before the next paper comes out to actually go back and get all that stuff and put that together. But I'm just really disgusted. Listen, if Castro was as bad as they say he is or was, they wouldn't need to be text messaging the private investigator screwing up the first investigation, text messaging a member of the Post Commission who's friends with Gina LaGreca and Methuen. So, if you guys want to sit back and go, he doesn't know what he's talking about, she's friends with Gina LaGreca and Methuen. I think her name is also Gina. And there are text messages that I have copies of. I haven't looked at them in a while, so I'm not going to say off the top of my head what they are. But I remember reading them and being blown away that Lawrence police officers were texting members of the Post Commission, guess what we've got on Castro now? You should do this, you should do that. And steering the Post Commission against Castro. So today's announcement, everyone's running around saying, oh, this is horrible, more corruption. You people know how much the media lies. If you're a Trump supporter, you know how much the media lies. If you're a Biden supporter, you know how much the media lies. And then at the local level, you believe everything they friggin' say. It's so infuriating to say to someone, they'll come on they'll sneak into my DMs and go, hey, can you believe this guy, Castro, blah, blah, blah. And I'll go, yeah, but none of that story is true. And they're like, well, yeah, look, it's right here in the Globe. Oh, well, look, it's right here in the Fall River or whatever. And I'm like, were you just on Facebook 2 days ago saying that the media lies about Donald Trump? But you believe it at the local level? So you think they lie at the state level, they lie at the federal level, but everyone at the local level is telling the truth? Like, can you not draw those connections? Anyways.
Yeah, I had some media outlets reach out to me recently, and when I didn't
let's get to that.
When I didn't want to give them salacious information, all of a sudden there was no story.
Right, yeah. Listen, if there was one journalist in Boston, one, who's watching this, that wants to win a Pulitzer Prize, do a public records request for the investigation into Castro that was done by Rob Morin. In that investigation, all the text messages between certain Lawrence police officers and a member of the friggin' Post Commission are all in that public document. I've got a copy of it. I posted it. I'll have to go back and look for it because I wasn't planning on talking about it today, but it just so frosted me when I started getting text messages today from people who should know better saying, wow, this is terrible. And I'm like, did you learn nothing from what happened with Donald Trump and did you learn nothing from what happened to Joe Biden?
I'll have to read that.
And Obama? Like, did you people are literally on Facebook every day saying the media lies, the media lies, the media lies. And then you slide into my DM and go, you believe it whole cloth. Like, oh my God, Castro must be Satan. Like, do you hear yourself? Like, anyways. And we can bring this all the way over to Methuen. Last week we talked about Tina Conway.
Oh, boy.
DJ Beauregard, the mayor of Methuen's chief of staff. Now, listen, I don't want to be an ass here, but I got to tell you, my friend David Consoli, and I'm saying this with love, it's got to be tough love today. You came on my show multiple times when we were up at Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, and you would mention Tina and say how nice she was. And I would say, she's a snake, be careful. And you have to be nice to everybody. You're so nice. And I know it's your personality. You can't help it. You're a nice person. He's got to be nice about everything. He gives And I'm like, listen, you're giving her the benefit of the doubt. She's trashing you behind your back. No, Tom, I've known her, and I put a thing up on my building for her family member, and she comes to my lake house. She's wonderful. We don't always agree, but she's a nice person. And I'd say, well, here's what she said about you last week. I got a friend in City Hall. Here's what they told me. How would I know that about you if I hadn't heard it from this friend of mine? And you're like, no, maybe that person is just making, I don't know. But you were so nice. And now it turns out, she screwed you. She screwed you. She screwed the town. She's a vicious, vapid, angry, hateful person who, if you disagree with her on politics, thinks that you're, quote, subhuman. Right? Did I get that right?
She called up.
You look upset. I didn't mean to upset you.
Right.
I didn't mean to upset you.
I'm heartbroken.
But
can you fix your microphone, please?
That better. Yeah, I'm heartbroken. I mean, she did call us. She called me and you subhuman, which, kind of hurt my feelings, but I'm a big boy.
See, I'm used to it, so it just rolled off my back.
It's all right.
20 years ago, that would have bugged me. But.
I mean, it's been a firestorm this week, and I really don't know what to say. But I want to do comment on the media because I had a couple of Boston media outlets reach out to me.
Yeah.
And
I bet they did after we played that clip of you at the city council. That went viral.
Yeah, it wasn't nice, but I wasn't nice at that podium.
Well, it wasn't about being nice. You were telling the truth about what happened.
So,
and you were hurt, and you just wanted to. Here's the thing. If you haven't seen the clip, Dave gets up at the city council meeting and says what she did, that she was calling names and she went on this rant. And really what he was just looking for was an apology. And I think if Tina had called you on the phone and said, you know what, Dave, I was mad. I'm sorry. I lost my temper. you've known me for a long time. I'm sorry. I know you well enough to know that no matter what she said or did, you would have melted and said, you know what, Tina, you're right. Let's go for drinks.
I probably would have, but getting back to the media, when they reached out to me, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to get thrust back into this. It's been a rough few months, especially after I did that December show where you had gotten 580 pages of her emails.
Yes.
And I read those, and I was a little taken aback by finding out when someone puts in writing just exactly how they feel about you.
Right.
So it was an eye-opening experience. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I was hurt, but business is business, and I'll get over it. But so the media outlets, when they wanted me to comment and they wanted salacious details, and when I wouldn't give salacious details, I guess there was no story. And I looked for some advice. I reached out to a couple city councilors, and I got to be honest, the Methuen city councilors that I've reached out to recently or months past have been really, really kind to me and responsive. I sent DJ a text last week and said, I have a Boston media outlet that wants comment. You really need to take my call. And he blew me off.
Really?
So I'm
hearing he's getting better at that, but
yeah, okay. So
I'm
he didn't want to talk to me when this first came up, so I can no longer have confidence in him. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I think he's the nicest guy, but he kind of avoids situations like this. What came out last week was abhorrent. He should have fired her. In my opinion. No, I don't think she should have lost her job.
I think you should have fired
First Amendment.
At first I didn't.
The First Amendment's the First Amendment is the First Amendment.
Well, not really, though. If you were a teacher at Methuen High School
and
you said all black people are subhuman, should you keep your job? If you're a police officer, would you? So why, as the face of Methuen, the person who, on behalf of the mayor, deals with the public and is the face of the mayor's office, when you call 50% of the people who live in your town, who rely on your office for public services, when they have problems with their streets, street signs, public safety, fire, whatever's going on, the schools, you want that person to be actively insulting 50% of your voters if you're the mayor? She should have.
And in that way, too. It was inappropriate.
That's above my pay grade. So it took like 4 days to get an apology, which, after knowing what I know, I'm sorry. I don't feel that that's sincere.
Really?
That apology.
See, I was blown away that she actually did it, so I gave her credit for it. Because I know that had to hurt. It had to hurt. It had to hurt for her. Even if she didn't write it, which I'm told she didn't write it, but even if she didn't write it.
Oh, you heard that as well, huh?
To put her name on it and post it on Facebook and admit that she did something wrong ever, for the Tina Conway that I know, that had to hurt. And so I was like, you know what? She did it. I'm giving her credit.
So part of what makes me lose confidence in our current mayor is this went down on a Sunday, and it took him 8 or 9 days to release a statement after she retired or whatever. When Kristen Maxwell, who I interviewed,
Great point.
So Kristen Maxwell is a Methuen School Committee member. She came on my show when you were in the hospital. I interviewed her when she was running for office. She made a comment at a school committee meeting on Monday, or online, I'm sorry, it was brought up on Monday, about she told someone, don't buy a house in the Timony district because in her opinion, there's other better districts to move in. She was kind of down on the Timony. She got lambasted and whatever, and I'm not gonna give you my opinion on that. But what I am gonna say is,
she was treated very differently.
Within 2 days, the mayor is issuing comment. Within 2 days, but his chief of staff, who he knows has treated me and other people horribly, it took him 8 or 9 days to issue comment, especially after you and the Tribune broke the story 2 days after that came out. So he sat on that for 7 days.
Yep.
I'm sorry, that's not leadership.
Listen, I'm a First Amendment absolutist, okay? You have the right to say what you want, but you don't have a constitutional right to be the chief of staff for the mayor of Methuen. So my solution last week when we talked about this right before she resigned or retired or whatever they're making up to get rid of her, my take was you remove her as chief of staff because you can't have a person in a public position like that. Put it down in inspectional services as a clerk or something. Keep her with her salary. Let her retire for whatever time. As long as she doesn't have access to the public and she can't hurt the town with her beliefs. She's free to have those beliefs. I will fight for her right to say what she wants. That's your constitutional right. But you don't have a constitutional right to work for the town of Methuen.
Yeah, but you know what the sad part of this is? That apology was said it was a momentary lapse of judgment. Okay?
No, it wasn't.
And this isn't funny because I've been on Facebook, and it's funny when someone knows my background, what happened with me in October. And now all of a sudden, everybody's coming out of the woodwork, dropping dimes, telling me all kinds of things, right? So they're showing me stuff. Is it called Twitter or X? Because I don't subscribe
I still call it Twitter.
Whatever. They're dropping. It's all over the internet now. They're dropping all of her X. It's called X, right?
X.
Yeah, they're dropping all her X feeds with all this vitriol. They're dropping some of her Facebook posts, which I don't have.
I found one that she retweeted attacking police officers. So I went back to her apology because I remember her mentioning first responders in her apology. I went back and read the apology. I didn't mean, I would never do this. I would never say this about first responders. I have so much respect for them. And then I went back to the one that I found that she retweeted that specifically attacked police officers.
Correct.
For supporting Donald Trump.
It's all over Methuen Sound Off.
Yeah.
Somebody who's on Twitter or X, whatever, has got access to her account, and it's that and her old Facebook. So this is how she feels.
Steve Gillis had a field day with this.
So do you know what the sad part is? You know, I had affection for this woman. She's a public servant for 2 decades. And there's got to be some good things that she did for the city. That's all gone. Yep. This is your legacy.
This is what she'll be remembered
This
for.
is what you're going to be remembered for.
And by the way, I don't think that's very fair either.
That's the sad part.
I agree with you on that.
Someone reached out to me and said, you know, she's rallying for people to support behind her. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, this is what she's going to be remembered for. Yeah. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
And I think if she wasn't so unforgiving of other people, more people would be forgiving of her. For example, think about this. Like, you know her and I know her. Those of you who are watching that maybe know her, think this. What if she was the mayor and DJ Beauregard was her chief of staff? And he said what she said about Trump, only he said it about Obama. And he said Obama was subhuman, and anybody that supported Obama is a piece of crap, and they're a traitor, and they're this. And the police officers that are out there supporting Obama are traitors to this country. Would DJ Beauregard have his job that day?
I don't know.
No, he'd be fired that day. You see how hateful she is? She would have fired him that day. And DJ gave her more consideration than she gave him.
I have defended her, and I've defended DJ. And I know you're taking your victory lap on me, but I'm no longer going to defend DJ. I've been in business.
I'm still holding out hope for DJ. He's young. I see him like he's a 12-year-old. He's still learning.
I have been in business longer than he's been alive.
Right.
And I like him. He's a nice person.
I have coffee cups older than him.
But what I've seen, there's no leadership. Where did you learn how to lead? You can't. And leaders come out. They show their true colors during a time of crisis.
Right.
And he has felt the need not to return my calls, my texts, whatever.
Maybe I'm making excuses for him.
I wouldn't have thrown him under the bus.
Right.
I was looking out for him because you know who.
Well, initially you were trying to get him to see what she was like.
Do you know who helped me? Joel Ferretra.
That's very surprising.
I called him and said, Joel, I do not want to comment on this story. Can I send them off to you? And he said, absolutely, I will help you. Wow. And I told this reporter from a Boston outlet, and I gave him Joel's contact information. Where it went from that, I'm not piling on here. I'm done.
See, the thing with DJ, I try to give him more of the benefit of the doubt because we had a falling out a few years ago, and I forgave him. And I don't want him to think that I'm still carrying that. So I'm trying to give him maybe more. I'm giving him a little bit more leeway than I should. But I also look at DJ as he's never run a city. He's never run anything. He worked at a bookstore before he got elected. Most people don't even realize that. He's a young kid. He's maybe 30, but he's got no experience being the CEO of anything. Okay. And I'm not saying that as a dig. I'm just saying it's what it is. And he's now thrust into this position where he has to make really major decisions he's got no experience making. So he's going to make mistakes.
Fine.
And so I'm giving him that. I'm trying to be a little bit more patient with him because he is young and he's not experienced and he's going to make mistakes. And if he's going to make them, he should make them now, right?
Okay.
In his 1-year term.
And I have like been more patient with him than anyone else. But the thing is, it's like Ghost City.
Right.
And
his biggest fault is if he thinks that you're even mad at him a little bit.
And I'm not.
He avoids the crap out of you. Like, for a year, he wouldn't take my calls or my text messages because he thought I was mad at him.
I'm not mad at him. I just feel I've lost faith. I don't have confidence in him as a leader. As a guy, I'll go out to dinner with him tomorrow.
He constantly says, or used to say when we talked, that Bill Manzi was his hero. And if Bill Manzi was your hero, DJ, if you're watching this, if Bill Manzi was your hero, stop making tougher executive decisions. Don't be so nice. And don't be afraid of your own shadow, and stop making bold moves. If he hires Jim McCarty to replace Tina Conway, I have had people...
That's bad optics.
I have had people who hate Tina Conway, call me and say, if he hires Jim McCarty, and you know who I'm talking about, if he hires Jim McCarty, I will call Tina, no matter how much I hate her, and I will recruit her to run against DJ. I've had several...
Wow.
Really important people call me and tell me that as much as they don't like Tina personally, they think Jim McCarty's more dangerous to the town. Tina doesn't like you because you like Trump or you don't like Tom Duggan, and she's going to flame out at you on Facebook. Jim McCarty is much worse because he doesn't show his hand.
Wow.
And so I've had a number of people, and you know who I'm talking about.
I just think that what's changed is the ego. You
Right.
know, as far as Tina goes, she was never like that. I mean, she always had her politics, but the position, her ego has changed, and her ego's bruised. And sometimes when people's egos are large, they don't think they're in the wrong. And
Right.
they don't. An apology makes everything go away, and a sincere apology that doesn't come out 4 days later after it's plastered all over the newspaper, the front page.
Well,
of the
there's a state
newspaper.
rep, and I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but there's a state rep who she worked really hard to get elected so that she would have this kind of leverage later on if anything happened. And that state rep was making phone calls all week last week. In fact, I'm going to be surprised if he shows up at the bash. He's welcome to come. I still love the guy. But he was making phone calls, and he was trying to make DJ's life very difficult over this whole Tina thing, defending Tina and saying this is about the First Amendment. It's not about the First Amendment. It's just like this terrorist from Tufts. It's not about the First Amendment. You have a constitutional right to say what you want if you're an American citizen, if you're not a guest of this country.
That's right. She's on a visa,
Right.
so she doesn't.
Right.
She's not protected
Right.
under the
That's
First Amendment.
right.
But excuse me. But Channel 5, Channel 4, and Channel 7 aren't
Shame on
telling
all
you
of
that
them.
part.
Right. Shame on all of them. But, you know, like I said, a teacher, a cop, a firefighter who said about Obama what she said about Donald Trump would lose their job in a day. In a day, Billy Manzi would have them in his office and they'd be fucking fired. In a day. In a day, Neil Perry would have them in his office and they would be fired.
In a vacuum, that one post isn't, terms for termination. It's the cumulative what has come out afterwards showing his systemic issue there, that this isn't a one-off. I mean, Steve Gillis, that guy's crazy. He's got stuff from 2023, 2024.
Don't ever piss that guy off.
This is not an isolated incident.
He keeps folders of people he doesn't like,
Really?
waiting for them to screw up.
Well,
I'm not kidding.
I've
He
read
keeps
some of his
folders
stuff.
of people.
Apparently, he's had an issue with the city, and she hasn't been very nice to him, and she's been mean to him. So he's getting his comeuppance. I mean,
I have two friends who work in City Hall in Methuen that no one knows are my friends for this reason. When Tina started, my name came up in a discussion at a meeting. They were all public employees. They all work at City Hall. My name came up. And this friend of mine almost said, hey, I'm a friend of Tom Duggan's. But before he had a chance to say that, Tina spoke up and said...
Oh, I've heard this. Yeah, you told me this.
And
story.
said what a piece of shit I am, and that if she saw me in her car, she'd run me over. Like, it wasn't just like
come
she
on.
didn't like me. It was
She
like
said that?
It was really over-the-top stuff. Yes. No, yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't see that.
And then she flipped from me to Trump and immediately started talking about Trump. And another friend of mine who was there is like, shit, I got a Trump sign on my lawn. Should I have to, take that down? What if she drives by my house and sees? If that's how she reacts to Donald Trump, that viciously, that violently, what if she finds out I'm pro-Trump? Am I going to have to worry about my job?
I don't believe that. I think her bark is worse than her bite.
He's still defending her. Look at him.
Yeah, I know. It's just
He saw his face.
It's who he is.
You know what,
He's like
Carlotta?
Nancy,
I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'm just done with these people, and I told you that the last
Yeah.
time. I have such a good circle. I went out with Dave Abdul last night. I
love Dave.
I went out with a couple.
Is he coming to the bash?
I didn't ask. But
why didn't you ask? It's a perfect opportunity.
Because I was too busy laughing.
All right,
we had a good time. So it was me, him, and another friend of mine.
I never get invited to these, by the way, intern Joe. You noticed
because you're not at our reunion.
I'm not in.
You're not in the circle.
I'm not in a loop, right?
It was a 40th reunion committee meeting.
Okay, fine.
So anyways, you're not an alum of our school. Right. So anyways, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So I have such good friends, and everybody's so good to me that I've realized the ones that I've moved on to, my life is so much better.
Oh.
My wife is so smart. She's the one that told me, Tina's been done with you since that animated phone call where she yelled at me about being your friend.
And that was before I got sick.
And I said, nobody tells me who to be friends with. Right. People, because of her political views, people kept saying to me, "You're friends with her?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's great." And I judge people specifically by the way they treat me.
Right.
And I guess if it wasn't for that public records request, I would have never known all this.
Speaking of public records request, how many emails did I get from the town of Methuen?
580 pages.
Kevin Foley, the city attorney for the city of Lawrence. Did you hear that? Give that number again.
580 pages.
580 pages of emails.
Emails from Tina Conway with my name on it or my company's name on it.
You know what the town of Methuen charged me for that?
What?
Nothing. But Kevin Foley from the city of Lawrence is trying to charge me $11,000.
What?
$11,000. And I'm rounding down. It was 11 something. For Kelly Burchill Frazier's emails. And he actually said in writing, and I'm going to the Secretary of State, if I got to take him to court, I'm taking him to court because I'm tired of fucking games over there. He actually said in writing that she sent and received over 15,000 emails. Now, Kelly Frazier reads at a 5th grade level. She worked for the city of Lawrence for a little more than 2 years. You're going to tell me she sent 20 emails a day, 7 days a week for 2.5 years to get 15,000 emails?
Can they charge you?
No, they can't. And when I sent him, I said, listen, I don't want to pull rank. I wrote the state's public records law. I wrote the public records reform law. Mass General Law, Chapter 6, look it up. Mass General Law, Chapter 66, subsection 10. I submitted it through Jim Lyons, Diana DeZoglio, and State Senator Katie Ives. It died the first time around in 2014. In 2016, it got passed. Charlie Baker signed it into law. I know the law up and down because I wrote the friggin' law. Yeah. I testified at every hearing, 18 hearings.
Did you file an appeal?
And I said to him, there's a limit on how much you can charge. Oh, I don't know anything. You're supposed to be a friggin' lawyer and you don't know the law that you're quoting? You're trying to charge me $11,000 friggin' dollars for Kelly Burchill Frazier's emails? Are you kidding me? By the way, when did I send my public records request in? December 29th.
Oh, God, that's a violation. Even I know that.
What's the date today? March 27th, I believe. Oh, well, we got an extension, he says. So he sends me an extension that he got from the Secretary of State's office because they're so busy. And the extension was a 30-day extension. So even with my Lawrence High School math, carry the 1, divide by 3, that's still more than 30 days from December 29th to March 27th.
Yeah.
And it started with Tim Houten, who's also a nightmare in Lawrence. They should both lose their jobs. And I'm tired of the games that they're playing. I have not once called a city councilor. I have not once talked to Brian DePina about this. I was hoping that when I sent them a very, very angry, profanity-laced email letting them know how unhappy that I was with them, that they would go, the guy owns a newspaper, the guy's got a podcast, he's friends with the mayor, he's friends with all the council. This guy could really hurt us. This guy could really make a problem here. And maybe we'll just give him the documents that he's looking for without giving him a hard time.
Something's not right.
I'm now convinced Attorney Foley from North Andover, who denied in an email that I've ever done anything for him. I believe he ran for office one time, and we endorsed him and helped him, even held, I believe, a sign for him. Now I'm at a point where, because of the bash, he got a grace period this week. Or I would be driving to Bill Galvin's office right now.
You need to go to Galvin. You need to go to Galvin on this.
But I'm tired of the games. I'm tired of Tim Houten. He's incompetent. I'm sorry, he just is. He's an incompetent lawyer. I've talked to the mayor a number of times on some of the recommendations he's given the mayor. 80%, in my estimation, 80% of the bad decisions Brian DePina has made in the last 2 years have been recommendations by Tim Houten. And now I get Bill Foley because I flamed off at Tim Houten, And he and Bill Foley and I thought had a good relationship. And now he's giving me more friggin' games than I got from Tim Houten.
Yeah, that's
the deception.
Yeah, but the law is in your favor.
$11,000 for emails.
Why don't you just go to Galvin's office?
I'm in the middle of running a bash.
Do you think they're looking through the emails to like strip some stuff?
Well,
they can legally redact them.
Okay.
She's the homeless coordinator. She's not a personnel director. She's not a cop. She's not dealing with Social Security numbers. There's no need to redact a homeless coordinator's emails.
I'm just telling you, they can.
Right, they can, but there's a cap on what they can charge.
Correct.
I know. I'm going to say it again, not to pat myself on the back, but just to show you how incompetent they are. I know. I wrote the friggin' law. Okay.
Yep.
And this is what I'm dealing with. So how many emails did I get from Methuen?
Well, pages.
No, pages, not emails.
Pages of emails.
Yes, 580.
580 pages. There was like 4 emails on each one.
You sent it all to me, and I read it. I was like,
right.
You're like, okay, see?
As bad as Methuen is on their worst day, even under Neil Perry, when I submitted a public records request and I said, I want all of Tina Conway's emails. I want all of them. I got hundreds, if not thousands of them. And it was 500 and something pages. Yes. There were 3 or 4 on each page, double-sided. They charged me nothing. You know why? Because she's not a cop. She's not a personnel director.
When I first had an issue with the street construction, and I filed my very, very first FOIA request, and the city of Methuen sent me some of the documents about the thing. That's when Neil told me that the engineering was in place, and some of it was missing. And they didn't give me everything I asked for. So when I appealed to the Secretary of State, I had to wait, but I got it. Mm-hmm. And that's that meeting that I stood up and said, Mr. Mayor, I'd appreciate some clarification on your offer to view the engineering, because now we know that those plans don't exist. Right. And he didn't.
That's when you found out that Tina was really screwing you on your project for the road by the industrial park.
Yeah, I don't know what motivated, some of the. I don't even know what motivated that message she sent me. I mean, because I was on a podcast with you saying, no, she's nice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And and then I get nasty messages.
Juvenile people who have mental illness or a border mental illness are like third graders. You can't be my friend if you're her friend. I don't like her, so you can't be her friend.
I just think it's an ego thing. That the ego gets bruised, and it's like, you know what? I'm better than you. I'm more educated than you. I'm smarter than you. How dare you question me?
Well, here's what's going to happen in Lawrence, because the bash is going to happen tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to crash for about 3 days.
Good.
And when I come back out of my slumber, and I have 9 cups of coffee, and I go over all the final numbers, and
you're like Punxsutawney Phil.
Right.
They're going to pull you out of the tree
I'm going to come out. I'm going to see my shadow, and then when I catch my breath next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I am going to the Secretary of State's office, but I'm not stopping there. I'm filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office. I'm going to put it on the next City Council agenda in Lawrence. I'm going to talk about it publicly.
Good.
I'm going to get a meeting with the mayor, and I'm not going to do it over coffee or drinks like we normally do outside of Lawrence to talk off the record. I want to be on his schedule. I want to be in his office. And if he wants to bring them in, he's free to bring them in. But I want him to know, I'm going to give it to him in writing, a complaint, and I want him and I want the council to know how either corrupt or incompetent these 2 lawyers are. Because if this was any other town, I remember when Superintendent Houten in North Andover tried to charge me $30,000 for emails for Ted Tripp from the Tea Party. There was Christine Allen, was a teacher or assistant superintendent in North Andover. She was using North Andover computers to campaign for a ballot question in North Andover.
Huh?
Yeah, she was using school department computers to campaign for a ballot question. So I found out about it. I got a copy of the email. I went to Superintendent Houten, and he didn't want me to have the emails because it would make the town look bad. So he said, I'm going to charge you $30-something thousand. Hey, Kevin Foley, why don't you call the Secretary of State's office and ask them how that worked out for them? Because it's going to be much worse for you, because I gave you from December 29th until it's going to be April 1st next week, and I still don't have my documents. And he also wants to charge me $125 for all of her timesheets. So every day she goes in when she works, she signs when she's there, and then she signs out for lunch, and then she signs when she comes back in, and then she signs out. If she does overtime, she has to sign in for it, and she has to sign out for it. He wants to charge me over $125 for that.
If I'm not mistaken, public records belong to the public.
Right.
Simple as that.
So here's my theory. It's a working theory. I could be totally wrong about this. I think there's something in those emails.
Of course there is.
That they don't want me to see.
Yep.
And I also know that she's been up in their office during my legal problems when I was getting arrested by these two criminals, Debo and Kelly. That I know she was up in the legal office discussing me a lot.
Oh boy.
And I think it's, and I won't know until I actually get the emails, but if they had nothing to hide, wouldn't they just go, you know what, give them the emails? Put it on a disc, charge them $50. Like Methuen didn't charge me anything. Nothing from Methuen. Nothing. North Andover, after Houten, when I was done with him, I got them for nothing.
Carl, after hearing about this situation with the homeless coordinator, I'm about to duck under the thing. I don't want to be anywhere near that. I have no clue. I don't want to be anywhere near that situation. I got my own little problems with just standing up to someone who wasn't nice to me. So,
I've lost like 50% of my friends after I started working with Duggan.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen because I'm honest about things.
True friends will never leave you.
That's true. That's
true. Friends will never
no,
leave you.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
My life is so
There's
much better
Kelly
now.
right there. This crybaby Kelly.
My
Kelly
life is
Burchill
so
Frazier.
much better now.
Yeah, I don't want to know anything about those people. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, but you know what I really wanted was I wanted her emails and I wanted her timesheets, and I don't even mind saying publicly why now, because now that I'm getting all this crap. She runs a nonprofit that her and her criminal husband run, called IVCS, International Veterans Care Services, in Lawrence and Methuen, which is not international. They're not like in Japan. She would come to TMF, and she would come to TMF on a Wednesday night after hours and try to find veterans that she could then have IVCS help, right? So she could get grants for her IVCS based on how many veterans that she's helping, that she's bringing in to help. She finds a veteran, she can go apply for a grant to help that veteran, and then, of course, the money funnels through her nonprofit, right? So I watched her do this time after time after time, and I had no problem with it. Like, that's what she does, that's what she does. But then someone in City Hall told me that she was putting in for overtime as the homeless coordinator while she was at TMF. So I want to see her timesheets to see if she was getting paid by the city while she was at TMF on Wednesday nights, shilling for her nonprofit.
You need to go through the courts
on
and get
the
all
city's
this.
dime.
You need to go through the
courts. Listen,
courts.
if they force me to go to court, it's going to be a lot more than just about public records.
No, but this whole situation with these people, you just need to go to court and then just.
I've got a 3-year window, and we're going to time it exactly the way it's going to benefit us.
Yeah, so do what you got to do.
But I am doing that. But in the meantime, I think the public needs to know what was their homeless coordinator doing on city time. She's getting paid by the city. She's getting paid by the taxpayers. It's a public issue, and people need to know. And if these lawyers in Lawrence want this to be the hill they die on, ask Tina Conway how that worked out for her.
Oh, boy.
Ask Superintendent Houten in North Andover how that worked out for him. I'll give you 9 more names if you want, Mr. Foley. Ask these people how it worked out for them. I try very hard not to go to war with people.
I know.
Sometimes I'm a bully. Sometimes I try to do it nice. But I never drop nuclear bombs unless I feel like I have to. Now, kind of feel like I have to. Especially when this is coming up on the week of the bash. This is additional stress while I'm trying to get this stuff done. So come next week, if I don't have what I'm looking for, and they're still trying to charge me $11,000, it's going to be a war.
All right, well, let's get through the bash and take care of these kids, and then we'll get to the ugly stuff.
I got this one. I got this one going, hurry up, and I got this one going, hurry up.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. This is
it's been me the whole time.
No, I didn't say anything. I just, so you want me to you want me to publicly say that you were right, I was wrong?
No, it's not about that. No, it's not about that. The reason why I do that, and it's just tough love, right? And Trigger will tell you, it's because I do this with Nancy all the time, too, and she thinks I'm picking on her. It's because if you can learn from this, the next time you're being overly nice to someone that doesn't deserve it, maybe you'll recognize it a little sooner, and you won't get so screwed.
Well, it's a lesson
because I saw how hurt you were, and I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you go through that again.
It's a lesson for my kids too, because even someone at my age can learn from this and still making mistakes.
Right.
It's like see what dad just went through. Yep. It's all over the papers. I'd want to crawl under a rock if this happened to me. I said something stupid like that on the internet, and it went all over the place, and all my customers fired me.
Right.
So it's not a good situation to be in, but we'll see. I'm very interested to see who's going to be the next chief of staff.
It's going to be. I'm hearing it's going to be Jim McCarty, and let me tell you, it's not because I don't like Jim McCarty. It's because nobody likes Jim McCarty. He's not an honest person, And if DJ was smart and he wants to get reelected, I'm not too sure he does. Maybe he's not going to run. But if he's smart and he wants to run for reelection, he will go outside Methuen. He will find someone that's not controversial, do what they call a nationwide search, just put it out for anyone, and try and find somebody who can do the job, like a Jana Di Natale. She would never take it, but someone like her, Someone who, very easygoing, very easy to get along with, can jump into the job and do the work and put your best interest ahead of her own best interest. When Jana was the chief of staff for Neil Perry's interests came before her own. Many nights, she would call me at 11:30 at night. I would be in my office, and I'd say, "Where are you? I don't hear the kids." She'd say, "I'm still at City Hall." It's 11:30 at night. You're a salaried employee. What are you doing? Yeah, but Neil needed this, and that's what DJ needs.
She's still like that. She called me at 10 o'clock the other night on her way home from work.
I'm so upset she's not coming to the bash this year. She's such a wonderful person. She's just nice.
I don't even think she's in town today.
Yeah, no, I think she's been traveling.
She's out of town.
Yeah, she's doing family stuff. So, all right, tomorrow night, if you're watching this live, it is Friday night, March 28th.
The big day.
6 o'clock, the doors open. 7 o'clock, program starts. I'm lying. We're not going to start till probably about 7:15, but
Dominican time.
If Dominican time, 4 o'clock, for Marcos Devers and Brian DePina and Octavian Spanner and Giovanni Rodriguez, 4 o'clock.
Is Manny going, Gonzalez?
Manny bought a table.
Oh, he's such a nice guy. I met him at Dave Abdu's son's graduation. What a nice guy he is. Yep. I like him.
It's why there's another state rep that I'm really surprised. I don't want to say he's ducking my calls, but it kind of feels like he's ducking my calls. He called me a week ago and said, "Hey, Tommy, I'm leaving the State House. I don't have time to talk, but I'm going to call you when I get in the car." That was a week ago. I still haven't heard back from him. I've sent him text messages. And all I wanted to know is, are you going to give to the scholarship kids? Because I want to boost that number up. So even if he brings the check that night, just tell me what you're going to give.
Okay.
Or if not, that's fine. Do you need a table? Because I want to make sure if you're going to get a table, and you call me the day of the event, I can't give you a table.
Yeah.
So I've still yet to hear from him, but we know everybody else is coming, and it's going to be a good night. I think we're going to sell out. This will be the third year in a row that we will sell out.
I'm really
if we
excited
do.
to be part of this.
You know what? I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited for you the way he was excited for his wife. He brought his wife last year, and he watched it through her eyes because it was her first time doing it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be looking at you all night just to see your reaction to some of the awesome things that go on in that room. We're going to give out over $60,000 in scholarships. We have an award for a hero veteran. We have an award for a hero police officer, Christine Nicolosi from Methuen, and she's bringing Kilo. I took that phone call right before we went on the air.
Yeah, she's great.
Chief Mack said, "Do you mind if Kilo comes?" And I'm like, "Bring him. I was hoping he would come anyway." So her drug-sniffing dog's coming. We have 3 Scott Clegg Public Service Awards we're giving out to 3 amazing people who help the homeless. It's going to be a good night. We have a lot planned. It's going to be a very short program, and then, boy, are we going to party. And the after party's in the bar, and the second after party, if you make it through the bar at last call, will be at the hotel.
All right.
So thank you, David Consoli. Why don't you roll up, Mel? I'll read our sponsors. We're at an hour and a half, aren't we, at least?
Oh, God. I feel like I've been here all day.
Yeah, I do too. Let's get this done. Let's get the sponsorships up. There's Melvin Taylor. I love that guy. He used to do the paying attention song at the beginning of the bash before he got sick. We miss him. Let's thank Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Stadium Chiropractic, JG's Ice Cream, 4-Star Lighting, W3ON, Enterprise Bank, Chris's Barbershop, Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurial Loves, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. He does the neck thing now, just like me. AFC Urgent Care, Clear Path for Veterans New England. Thank you to the guys from Clear Path. $1,500 scholarship donation. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. EIS, Investigation and Gun Training. I'm so psyched Joe Solomon is coming tomorrow night. Marston and Son Construction. The Zany Pesce Law Office. And again, Century 21 McLennan Real Estate. Thank you to Janet McLennan for making a donation yesterday. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow night, and then do not call me over the weekend. Please just don't do it.
Let
just
him
don't
sleep.
do it. I'm gonna take a lot of drugs, and I'm just gonna go out cold for 3 straight days. And then when I wake up, Kevin Foley better have my emails, or it's gonna be not good for him. Melvin Taylor says you got to go home, so go home already.